Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So you've already heard the news by now, or if you haven't heard, Ubisoft has basically given the green light for a Tom Clancy Splinter Cell remake. So I think this is the remake for the original game. From the news reports that I saw, I first thought it was a remake of Splinter Cell Blacklist, but apparently it's the original Splinter Cell game. So this is going to be very interesting because the game is getting built from ground up. We're going to be seeing more modern graphics. It's going to have its assets remade, redesigned. A lot of things are going to be done to suit a modern day, aspect of things. And even much more importantly, it's going to be designed and developed in the Snowdrop engine. Now, some of you know the Snowdrop engine. It's, in my opinion, starting to become one of Ubisoft's most favorite, development engines in terms of their action shooter games. I know they have other engines, so like Anvil or Dunia or whatever it is they call them, that they use for Far Cry and all the others. As of now, those engines still continue to provide the gameplay experiences that they want. And one thing a lot of people, don't realize in terms of those engines is you can always upgrade your engine. You could always, refine code and rebuild specific systems and bring out much more updated versions. So an engine, in essence, never really gets outdated. It's if the developers refuse to upgrade the engine that they would eventually leave it in a place where it becomes irrelevant and it's not as useful or as good as what the newer engines or newer updated engines are able to provide. Now, what are the implications of all of this? Why is Ubisoft greenlighting this remake for this game? Well, there are all kinds of different talk out there. There's talk that potentially, the voice actor that had played the other Splinter Cell games was not in a position to, make another Splinter Cell game. I don't know how I can confirm that, but that's just the chatter that I'm seeing. But more importantly, I think Ubisoft is recognizing something very important. I think they're trying to double dip. I think they're trying to double dip into the audience that is a classic Tom Clancy audience, and at the same time into a demographics that they have not necessarily yet reached. Now, what is this demographics? If you go and look at games that they've revealed, they're free-to-play games that they've revealed in the past few months, you're going to see that X-Defiant and Ghost Recon Frontline are two games that didn't necessarily seem like the classic Tom Clancy games and were not met with a lot of joy from the classic community. In fact, there were videos saying, what the heck is this? Why is Ubisoft wanting to follow and take on this direction of Fortnite and PUBG and all these other games? And what are they going to do with their existing IPs? This was, in my opinion, a very huge line of questioning that I felt the community needed to ask in order for Ubisoft to basically provide their end game to everyone. And so this is where I think we are. I think Ubisoft is purposefully trying to make sure that the classic community receives the games that the classic community is all about. So our core experiences. Rainbow Six Siege is kind of one that's in a mixed match area, but you think about other games like Ghost Recon, think about The Division. These games are very central to a lot of the Tom Clancy players. Whether they play both or just one of them, they still have similar shared experiences in close community in terms of the way they've developed these games. The Splinter Cell game, nonetheless, is going to be in, one of the games which is a Tom Clancy game that in a long time, if they make it a single player game, according to the classic game itself, would fulfill that single player experience that a lot of people have been asking for within the Tom Clancy universe. So I think this is what Ubisoft is trying to do. They want to make sure that they, that they keep this classic community happy because, like I've said, they cannot afford to lose the millions and millions of players that are already established within this pipeline trying to go find a demographic that they don't even know if they're going to be able to catch. Because to be very honest, I mean, dear Ubisoft, you know that if you bring out Ghost Recon, or when you bring out Ghost Recon Frontline, because I know y'all are stubborn like that, you're going to bring it out. You're going to have to fight with Battlefield. You're going to have to fight with PUBG. You're going to have to fight with Warzone. A lot of these other companies are already a few steps ahead, and you guys are trying to catch up. And Ubisoft, in my opinion, you guys don't have the reputation to actually, do that. Except maybe by some Hail Mary, because you don't want to say never. I don't want to write them off. But except by some Hail Mary, a lot of people jump into this pipeline. But to be very honest and to be very fair, to use the Tom Clancy name is going to go over the heads of the demographics that play those games. This is just the truth. We don't have a lot of the youngins that are into Tom Clancy that were not necessarily introduced by the OG community. And what the OG community has got with Tom Clancy is we have a way of kind of bringing new and new people into the community over time. And so as Ubisoft is looking for this new demographics, I wish them good luck, but they better pay attention as well to the audience that enjoys their classic games as well. So you kind of think about all of this and you put it together and you say, man, I hope that this Splinter Cell game is really done in a modern way. I hope it really captures what the Tom Clancy games are. It keeps its story. It continues to be much more grounded, and they continue this pattern of even making these remakes of some of the more beloved Tom Clancy games, and also make fresh iterations that continue those traditions. Stealth or hardcore gameplay, all those things that, you know, the Tom Clancy fans do like. And I believe that even the demographics that may be chasing all of these, you know, monetizable games, which I think is what Ubisoft's eye is on, is the monetization, you know, prospects. I think eventually they'll get tired of those and look for much more in-depth gaming experiences, which these classic games have already provided. And so if they have a library of those, it'll be easy for those players to basically transition and enjoy those games. But at the end of the day, you know, nobody asked me about their business advice. They have people who do their business strategy. But again, we, the gamers, we kind of can see, you know, the writing on the wall. And I don't know how this landscape is going to look for Ubisoft, but they can go ahead and try it out nonetheless. Maybe it might become something quite financially interesting. And one thing about it is once that makes money, they'll just invest it into other games that we like anyways. It's usually how it goes. I mean, look at Epic Games. They made so much money with Fortnite, and anybody that's a developer on the Unreal Engine pipeline is enjoying the benefits of all that Fortnite money. And so believe it or not, these games, they have an unintended positive consequence that can come from them if they actually succeed. And I know it's not something you wanted to hear in this video, but it is a reality that is actually happening as we speak right now. But nonetheless, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Talk to me. Peace out.